Guten Tag! In diesem Video erkläre ich die Vergangenheit auf Deutsch. Das heißt Imperfekt und Perfekt. Ich möchte erklären, wie man über die Vergangenheit spricht. Yeah, how you talk about the past. So, die Vergangenheit, past. Yeah. Imperfekt, das ist einfach. This is a simple form of past tense. This is what we use for haben and sein all the time. You can always use imperfect for haben and sein. So we're going to start there, and then we're going to go to perfect, which in English is called present perfect tense. And I'll explain why it has that name with the word present in it when it's past tense. But we're going to get to that last. So we're going to start with haben and sein. These two have their own special form for past tense that is used pretty much all the time, whether you're speaking or writing. And that is the main difference between imperfect and perfect in German. So usually when you're speaking, you would use perfect, and when you're writing, you would use all imperfect. But of course, with everything, there are exceptions, right? So haben und sein are the exception for this rule. It doesn't mean that you can't use them with perfect, it's just that typically, the vast majority of the time, you would be using imperfect, even if you're speaking with haben and sein. Okay, so haben in imperfekt ist hatte. So, ich hatte, du hattest, er, sie, es hatte, wir hatten, ihr hattet und sie hatten. Ja, und auch formell sie hatten. So, das ist ziemlich leicht. Man muss einfach alles auswendig lernen. You have to memorize those forms. Und das ist gleich mit sein. Same thing. So, in this case we have ich war, I was, for sein. So, ich war, du warst, er, sie, es war. Just like with hatte and with the modal verbs, the ich form and the er, sie, es form are the same. So you don't have to memorize two different forms there. Okay, so ich war, du warst, er war. Wir waren, ihr wart und sie waren. Das sind die Formen, die Sie lernen müssen. Yeah, so you guys just have to learn those. There's no special trick to it. You just have to memorize them. Okay, so those are for haben und sein. You use them where you would use a regular verb. All the word order rules for German verbs still apply, so they would go in second position most of the time. Okay, so the other kind of past tense is called conversational past in the book, oder das heißt perfekt auf Deutsch. Auf Englisch nennt man das oft present perfect tense. So it's present perfect because you use a helping verb with this kind of past tense, and that verb is in present tense. It's perfect because perfective in grammatical terms usually means a finished action, something that is closed, that has already happened, and it's over with. So that's where you get the name present perfect. In German, you have two different helping verbs that you might use. One of them is haben. That's the most common one by far. The other is sein. So sein is used only with a certain small group of verbs, most of them having to do with motion, going somewhere. Some of them also have to do with change of state, like going from living to dead. So man sagt, ist gestorben, he died. Oder if you're going from sleeping to waking, ich bin aufgewacht, zum Beispiel, I woke up. So usually the ones you're going to use most are things like gehen und fahren, where you have sein with a verb of motion. So you're going to have ich bin gefahren oder ich bin gegangen for gehen. Okay, so those are the helping verbs, haben and sein. Most of the time you're going to have haben. As long as it's not one of these change of state verbs or a motion verb, it will use haben. And we're going to start out with just regular verbs. So regular verbs are going to have two things happen. First, you insert a helping verb in second position. That's going to be conjugated for the subject in present tense. Then you're going to have the past participle of the verb, which is like in English, if you say, I have driven, driven would be the past participle. Or I have gone, gone would be the past participle. So you're going to have that past participle go at the end of the sentence. Zum Beispiel, ich bin heute Morgen zur Uni gegangen. Okay, so you have ich bin, the bin is in second position. Heute Morgen zur Uni, that's all in the middle. And then gegangen, the past participle, is at the end. So I'll give you an example there with an irregular verb. I'm going to do one with a regular verb. So, ich habe heute Morgen Frühstück gemacht. Gemacht is at the end. This is the verb machen. Haben is its Hilfsverb, its helping verb, that goes in the second position. And you have all the rest come in the middle. So, I have this morning breakfast made. And you'll notice that this is the same pattern we've been using over and over again in German, the Satzklammer, where you have one verb thing in second position, and then if there's another verby thing, you put it at the end, right? So this happens with trennbare Verben, Modalverben, and now we're doing it also with Perfekt. Yeah. Okay, so when you're forming the past participle in German, you've got to make it out of the verb if it's a regular verb. So regular verbs like machen oder tanzen, we'll use those two as examples. What you do is you put a g prefix in front of it, ge, ge, and then you use the stem, which is the verb without the en ending. So g, mach, and then you add a t at the end. So this stem, mach, is sandwiched between g and t. So you have gemacht for the past participle. Try it with tanzen. Tanzen, take off the en, tanz, and then we put g and t, so getanzt, getanzt. Ich habe gestern Abend mit meinem Freund getanzt. Yeah? Okay, so when you're doing conversational past, you have Hilfsverb und Partizip, yeah, the helping verb and the participle, and they go at the ends of the Satzklammer. So you know now how to form the past participle for regular verbs. There are other kinds of verbs where it's not so simple. Obviously, irregular verbs are just going to be forms that you have to memorize, just like they are with the conjugations. You just have to know what it's going to be. So a few of the common ones, I already mentioned gehen goes to ich bin gegangen. So it uses sein and it has the irregular participle. There's also any of the other irregular ones, you know, like essen und nehmen und fahren und laufen. Those are all going to be different forms for the past participle. Most of them that are irregular will end in an N. So, ich fahre, ich bin gefahren. Ich esse, ich habe gegessen. So you should try to get to know the verbs that you already know. You should know those past participle forms for the irregular ones. So essen is probably an important one because we talk about that a lot. So essen, gegessen, trinken, getrunken. Nehmen is a good one to know. Nehmen, genommen. You can look in the book for more suggestions or in that Groom Grammar page on the irregular verbs with haben. And also the mixed verbs. So mixed verbs are also not regular. So I lump them in with the irregular verbs. So you get things like wissen, where you have an irregular form. So ich weiß doesn't match with what you would expect from wissen, right? So that's an irregular verb. And then in the past tense, it's ich habe gewusst. So the mixed verbs are just the irregular verbs that have a T ending in the past participle. Okay, so there's one other category of verbs that is fairly easy to predict with the past participle, and these are the ihren verbs. So any verb that ends in ihren is just going to change its form to irt in the past tense. So studieren zum Beispiel wird studiert. Ich habe an der Uni Southern Oregon University studiert. Yeah. You don't add the g in this case at all. It's just the ending that changes. And there are a group of other verbs that don't take the g prefix either. These are verbs that already have a prefix that is not separable. So verbs like bekommen, to get or receive. That's going to be just bekommen in the past tense. Because kommen is an irregular verb. In its past tense, it's gekommen. But if we have the b prefix there, the rest will follow the same pattern. The ending will. But the b is going to block that g prefix from attaching in the past participle. Okay, so I'm just going to recap really quick everything that we've been over in this video before you go. First of all, the difference between imperfekt, the simple past, and perfekt, this past that has the helping verb and the participle. The difference is whether you're speaking or writing. That's how you know when to use which one. So we're only using imperfekt right now for haben and sein, because those two are simple forms that you would actually use when you're speaking. We're going to focus on the spoken forms right now. And we'll learn more about the imperfekt and how to make it in writing later. So for right now, we're focusing on haben and sein, so hatte und war für imperfekt. Und dann auch für perfekt die regelmäßigen Verben, regular verbs. So if a verb is regular, you should be able to find that participle by taking the stem of the verb and smooshing it between a g and a t. So gemacht. And of course you use that at the end with your helping verb in the second position. Just like how we do in English with have. I have gone. I have been to this place. I have studied. Things like that. The difference between that form in English and the perfekt in German is that English has this weird meaning where if you say it with have, it's like you did it in the past, and it's a little different than the simple form. So I have gone is different than I went, right? So it's like you did it sometime in the past that's just a distant time, but it's not like talking about yesterday. You wouldn't say, yesterday I have gone to the store. You would just say went, right? But in German, there's no meaning difference like that. It's just past tense is past tense, period. It doesn't distinguish between like I did it one time or I did it yesterday. It's just past tense. Okay, so when you're using perfekt, that's in conversation, and you use a helping verb, either haben for the majority of cases, or sein for motion verbs or change of state. And then you have your participle at the end. Ich glaube, das ist alles. So, wenn Sie Fragen haben, bitte schicken Sie mir eine E-Mail. Danke und schönes Wochenende. Tschüss.